It's Saturday, November 29th, 4:42. Actually, it's probably 4:43 now. I always look for synchronicities, and I like 4:42. I like the number 4:42. Partly because I think there was a car. I'm pretty sure there was a car that used to come outfitted with 442. I think that's horsepower. I don't know. It's like there's a lot of 350s. All right, my van was a 350. I don't think that's 350 horsepower. I think that's the size of the engine or something. And there's also a 442, which is a bigger engine. And they used to put that in cars, like, I don't know, Mustangs, stuff like that. And to make them fast. And I liked my brother Rick, he was a brother on my on my stepbrothers, one of my stepbrothers, and he had a 442. Look, I look for synchronicities because, I think the only reason I'm doing these journal entries is just probably because I'm not actually talking to anybody. And in particular, if I had anything to say of any importance, I would want to say it to you, my grandchildren. When I go out, I do engage in conversation with people, but not at depth, Not like I have to do, because the times right now kind of impel and tell me to say something because the times are horrific. These are not normal times. I mean, the President of the United States is killing people. And people that work below him are killing people. Pete Hegseth, he ordered the killing of... okay, and he even is not... It can't be official because it has to be done through Congress. But I guess, Hegseth and Trump, they renamed the Department of Defense to the War Department, the Department of War, to show their eagerness to kill. All right, to go to war. It's putting that out front. It's not putting defense out front. Defense is like you're not aggressive. War is you're aggressive. All right, so that's number one. They changed it to that, war. And Trump is attacking everybody, and Hegseth is killing people, and we're not even in war. And he's a war criminal now. Even after they bombed the boat, there were survivors, and then they shot him in the head. You can't even do that in wartime. That's against the rules of war. Because at least, for some reason, there are rules of engagement among nations who decide to go to war. Like, I'm not sure how that can be, but it's a known fact that they will say, like, if there's survivors, don't be shooting them in the head and killing all the survivors. Plus, we're not even at war. And these people, they're not even giving any explanation for this. And they're doing that in the face of all the American sensibilities. And all the population of America, at least they've been kind of brought up with the fact that, like, maybe they probably might have read through, at least in school, the Constitution of the United States, the Declaration of Independence, the preamble, all those documents that kind of state, like, what we're really about. And so they're putting on a show for the American people. Look, I'm a regular common American, okay? There's nothing special about me the way I grew up or anything like that. And I know there's a lot of other people that have the same kind of education that I've had. And I'm sure you will too. But I'm saying in this time right now, it's imperative that I actually make a journal entry. I mean, once I started making my journal, it's like I can't like quit today because this is a horrific time. I don't know. I feel like I can at least, document it from my perspective for what it's worth. And I'm just a regular, American human being. Well, there's a lot of American human beings, and there's a lot of different kinds. And I was thinking, like I have said, that Donald Trump proves to me that humanity can't be trusted. But since it was Thanksgiving, I was thinking about the Indians. And like the Indians, like I just never have heard any kind of stories or anything about Indians that treated each other bad, like amongst the Indians, bad Indians that were like criminal Indians. They stole from each other. Like in Star Trek, all right, there is a group of people called the Ferengis. In that mythology of Star Trek, the Ferengis, and they're always trying to cheat each other, and it's okay. That's the way that they are. It's like a whole different species. It's not human. But when I was in undergraduate school, I seen a movie about this tribe. It was one of them tribes, where they, don't wear much clothes. I think it might have been from Africa. But anyway, some people, missionaries and stuff like that, they used to try to go out and as missionaries and try to convert people because they thought that was what the great command of the Lord was, to go out and preach the gospel to every nation. All right. But anyway, this one tribe, their greatest virtue was treachery. And so you have groups of people that have different kind of morality. And even I've heard it said, like when I was younger, that certain people don't have any morals or anything like that, or they don't have any morality. I think they call them amoral people. And it was always hard for me to kind of actually believe in that actually people actually were like that. And so for a person who has a hard time actually seeing how that could actually be a real thing, like just to imagine that actually there are people born without morals, like they don't have any problem, like killing people, and if they can get away with it, they ain't got a problem with it. As if they can get away with it, see? And but that's because they don't have any actual the feelings that come with having morals. Like the feelings, like that morals is born out of like empathy, like, and that was what Jesus taught, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Like you can actually put yourself like in another person's shoes and understand them, and then when you make judgments, you'll probably be a little more understanding. But people that don't have morals, it's not even a consideration for them. And it's just all about what you can get away with. And they will steal, lie, and cheat. A person that don't have any regard about that. Some people aren't even educated in the understanding of what it is to have regard for anything. People used to sign their letters, best regard, handwritten letters, I don't think people do that anymore. And that whole spirit is going away. Look, I would rather, okay, like you can actually see this kind of stuff in movies. You might see somebody write a letter, and at the end of the letter, they write best regards, or sincerely, or love, or yours truly. But today is a special day of regard for me because I'm looking over here because like I'm looking at 4 women and a man, and the way that they're positioned here, the man is in the middle, and then there's 2 women on each side, and they're spaced out exactly the same the same distance apart, and everybody looks like a prop. And actually, you know what? They all got. It's kind of like I can't see the person on this side, but I have the women. Both women have their right leg on the women on the right side have both their right legs going to the right toward the man. The man is in the middle, and the woman on the left have their left legs going to the left toward the man in the middle. And it is just very telling how everybody is staged. And then when the way that their makeup is, and the way that their eyelashes go out, and all the painting around the eyes to make everything delineated and like striking, and so you can actually like see it, like exclamation point. And you know what? Look, if you're going on TV and stuff like that, I don't even think that you should be, having like a short skirt and pantyhose, making your legs look like perfectly smooth skin. I'm imagining that they're wearing panty, at least that lady there. Anyway, looking so fake. It just let you look fake. I was thinking about my grandmother, because I remember, when she used to see people, newscasters on TV, she always used to criticize them too. I can't remember if she criticized men, but she definitely criticized the women for looking fake. And I used to think that she was being like overly severe or something. I was wondering what kind of upbringing, like, and kind of social influence and stuff she had when she was growing up, like, and all the way through high school and as an adult, and how her opinions were formed and everything, like why she was so critical. I mean, I don't know why she was so critical because I was just younger then, but look, I'm going to show you, and I'm even going to play because see, I don't like this lady that talks here. Like, I don't like her spirit. And I don't think every one of these people, because they do come from, this is from Fox. And every one of these people are fake. Like, they're fake. Like, there's nothing genuine or good about them. I just have to call them fake. And I have worse than disregard. My feelings are like more angry and more disgusted at the way that these people could represent humanity. Right? And that's why I feel like, humanity is doomed. But I was thinking, well, like, I don't know if there's any Indians that would be like this. Because a lot of these people, they're just putting on a show and they're doing it for money. And they have no morality. Like, they don't care about like the kind of influence that they'll have on society. They just think that this is the way it is, and their job in life is to make a buck and to make as much as you can and to get over on as many people as you can. And, you know, everybody else is a little piggy. Okay. To take it to the end of the point, the end of the sentence. Take it to the end of the sentence before the period. All right. Before at the period, what you have right there is little piggy. Everybody else, little piggy. And that's the attitude you're supposed to have. Not everybody's like that, though. I don't think the Indians were like that. And that's why I kind of always had a sensitive place in my heart for the Indians. You know, plus, you know, my stepbrothers were all Indian, Cherokee Indian. But they were American. My brother couldn't be trusted. My younger brother, man, he hurt me. He hurt me. I never even talked to him after he did what he did to me. And then I never talked to him again until he died. Some people were mad at me that I would never talk to him again. And like one of my step cousins, you know, said to me, well, he tried to talk to you. I don't care if he tried to talk to me or not. If he came with a bunch of money, like enough of money to at least undo the damage that he did to me. Because he altered my life. I would never speak to him again. Not unless he actually did something to actually prove to me that he was no longer a chump, a con, a liar. Well, see, you know, like, okay, I say chump, you know, because he made me like the chump, like he took advantage of me because I trusted him. Anyway, I'll just say he was an Indian, so it's not really, you can't say that, but he was not completely Cherokee. No, yes, he was. He was completely Cherokee. They were all completely Cherokee. I forgot. I just didn't know his. Well, I did meet his father once in Kentucky, and he was a Cherokee, and his mom was a Cherokee. So they were from Kentucky, and they were Cherokee. And so, you know, you can't say that, okay, just because of the bloodline or something, you're good, because it don't work that way. It has to do with the community and the people you're around. It's hard to understand sometimes that there's people in the world that are not like you, and it took me a long time to actually understand that there are people in the world that they don't really care if they hurt anybody. It don't matter how they hurt them. They don't financially or just in a person's feelings. Or, you know, like socially or, okay, well, you got the different areas, you know, socially, financially, personally, and maybe like financially would be like, you know, different ways of that. But all that stuff combined, they don't care. And it's all about like how Sun Tzu would say, if they're your enemy, this is what you gotta do. You know, but the thing is, you know, Jesus would say, you know, to try not to have any enemies, because, you know, that's why he said on the cross, you know, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. See, that last part, for they know not what they do, that means a lot. And it means some people don't actually know what they're doing. And people that are real wicked like that, Obviously, they don't know what they're doing. It's kind of hard to say, forgive them for they don't know what they do, but there's some stupid people. But the thing is, I mean, Trump got a lot of good people, actually, to vote for him. And so what that says is they were stupid people if they couldn't understand a person's spirit. Unless there's a lot of evil people in the world, more than I think. I don't know. I can't, that's why I can't understand how there could be enough people that would actually even ever in my lifetime like it from the very beginning, even like him. What? There are people, because he appealed to their greed. They thought that he would make them rich. I remember now. Okay, I remember. But if you didn't really know, I knew that all the stuff that he sported was a sham. Because the news came out early on and followed him. His college was all fake. He just had scams, one scam after another, and he cheated on lying to the banks and stuff. He got convicted of it. He has 32 felony convictions, 30 or 34. It's either 32 or 34. Felony convictions. Anyway, I'm going to show you this, people, because I see here.
Whatsoever to anyone to allow them entry into our country and to all of the benefits that offers. We don't have any obligation to do that. And quite frankly, it's asinine that we can't have a realistic policy conversation about how certain cultures are quite literally incompatible with ours. It should be okay to say that. And more importantly, it should be okay to base our immigration policy on that. So I'm glad that President Trump is taking some steps in that direction, because it is a long time coming. Indeed.
By the way.
All right. You heard her say, actually, this is actually the first time that I actually listened to it all the way through. Because when it hit me, I just paused it, and this idea, this reckoning. But you heard her say certain cultures are incompatible with ours. See that statement right there? I don't understand that. I don't understand how a person can say certain cultures are incompatible with ours. Because there's not that many cultures that are incompatible with mine. Okay, maybe if there's something, like a Ferengi culture, where the culture of that tribe whose greatest virtue was treachery. Now you can get over on somebody, no matter how cutting it is, and the more cutting, the deeper you can pull that knife, the better. The worse you can hurt them, the better. Because that's what it's all about. It's about killing everybody's your enemy. And you're going to have to try to kill them one way or another. And it's one way or another. But, hey, if that's a culture, well, that would be incompatible. But there's not any cultures in America that are actually have that as as treachery as one of their greatest virtues. There's individual people that have that kind of bent, but there's no cultures. And they're trying to see what they're doing by talking about cultures, different cultures of people. What they're saying is, people that aren't white Christian nationalists. It doesn't matter if their Christianity is actually true or not. According to the words of Jesus Christ. All right, that don't matter. What matters is only the flag. Only the cross that you put on your shield as you go out and kill people. And so they had a cross on the shields of the Crusaders, and they were, they were the Catholic Church. I'm pretty sure they were the Catholic Church. Even if they weren't the Catholic Church, it was still because they early on they adopted certain religions. Like I think it was Constantine. He wasn't a Christian or nothing like that, but he understood, and that's why he made like Christianity the state religion, because he said that that's how you could keep the people in line. See? It was better to make one religion, not have a whole bunch of different religions. That's the reason he did it. You can read that in history. And I'm pretty sure it was Constantine. And that was early, like about like 300 AD, after Jesus was dead, like about 200 or 300. And these people really, dismay me. And I just don't even know how to take them. I can't really even watch these kind of people talk without getting so disgusted that I don't even want to ever turn TV back on. But in the times that we are right now, Trump is killing people, and he probably, if you think about it, all right, just the way that they've handled the Epstein files and all that, I think, it's just my opinion, I think, they probably called up the head of the prison and told him they needed to do an operation, and that by order of the President of the United States of America, he wanted everybody to leave their post, and we would have them covered. And then after we have our official meeting, they can go back, and then the people that took their place would be relieved. And so when that happened, somebody just went in and killed Epstein for the sake of the nation. Well, that's the front, see? Probably for the sake of one man. One man, and who was put in office, commissioned to protect, that class of society that he belongs to, or he's trying to belong to. He belongs to it now. The class of fascist dictators and oligarchs. Anyway, the times that we're in right now is very, very troubling. And so, look, so that was that, all right? But look, I'm just going to show you like the stuff, okay? Just a couple of the pictures like that are on the bottom of my screen, I have a picture of Trump like acting like he's like this, holding a, looks like he's holding a machine gun or something. I don't know what he's doing. I have another lady going like out, mouth wide open. You know what? Mass GOP resignations. Trump's nightmare. I'm not even going to show them pictures. Disgusting. But, I was just thinking, before I decided to make this journal entry of my values and my thinking about, and the impression that what's going on gives me, and in regard to Thanksgiving, and in regard to the actual word regard, and in behalf of, virtues and moralities that I believe should be aspired to. I just feel it's important for me to make a journal entry because the time right now is so horrific and troubling, with the President of the United States killing people and tormenting people, and the hatred and disdain for any culture other than like these people who watch Fox News. Those kind of people. And now we're full of those kind of people. And it's sick. And I don't think they do know what they're doing. I think Jesus was right about that at least, but I don't know if I'd be saying forgive them. But that just goes to show you, what a big man he was. I mean, it'd be a little bit harder for me to say that. But I mean, I'm not dying to save the world either. But look, there's only so much we can do, each one of us, and so I guess I'm back where I started. I'm really not talking to anybody, telling anybody this, but these are my true feelings. And so if I could tell them to anybody, I was hoping I'd be telling you, my grandchildren, because I would never want to see you be like these people. These people on Fox News, fake. And these people like Pete Hegseth, who wants to have the Department of Defense known as the Department of War. And these people that put crosses before their shields and have swords in their hands to go out and kill people in the name of Jesus Christ. That's what you call blasphemy. It is a sin of blasphemy. Jesus said that blasphemy against the Holy Spirit will never be forgiven, not in this life or the next. And what that is calling the works of the devil the works of God, or the works of God the work of the devil. That's blasphemy. That's blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. And Jesus said that sin would never be forgiven, not in this life or the world to come. That's how serious he was about that idea right there, that regard. Okay, look, that's where we're at right now. We're looking at blasphemy. That's why I had to make this journal entry, because the time that we are in right now is blasphemy. The time that I'm in. And when you're like looking at my journal entry, you can know that I understood that this was a time of blasphemy. This is a day of the ass hucker and the little piggies. And I'm just going to stop it right there at that one, right there. I'm just going to call this one blasphemy. Yeah, that's it.